warm welcome on behalf of the Abu Dhabi Early Childhood Authority and the Taqueen program. If you have not had time to go through the website, please take a few minutes of your time and go and see at the amazing initiatives that the Taqueen program is leading and doing to help you as a parent or childminder navigate some of the small challenges you might face along the way, guiding, leading and raising a child. The platform is specifically there to be of service to you and the community, with great pre-planned programs on their calendar that you can simply just click on and follow, from cooking programs and also seminars like this where somebody gets to share their views or knowledge on various topics that could be of interest to you while you navigate this process of raising a child. Who am I? I'm Victor and I'm the lifestyle chef. I'm a father of two and really proud to be here this morning to share what I've learned in my short 6 years of being a parent. And my journey will not end very soon. We've got plenty more to learn about being a parent, and I think the job never ends, and so I've been told. So I would like to share with you what I have come to understand with not just my children, but also interacting with kids or friends of my children, and get to really get a better understanding in my little world, in my little community, of how to be there better for my own and try and guide and teach them in the best possible way that I can. I'm a chef, and I also do some cook-along programs with the Taqueen program on Thursdays, where my children joins me in the kitchen and we do very simple, easy to follow recipes for you to get on board and get interactive with us. We post the recipes well in advance, so all you need to do is just get your little prep out of the way and come and join us in the kitchen and really have fun. The most important part of that program is to learn kitchen safety, and on top of that, give your child some early stimulation in the kitchen, understanding the importance of nutrition and also the importance of just food in general. So yeah, please come and join us on Thursdays as we work through a bunch of fun little recipes. I would like to share today a few slides, and the whole topic today is bonding and relationships. It is the cornerstone of being a parent, and also raising or guiding somebody or a child. That bonding process of creating the glue that keeps your unit together, and also the internal relationship. If you have, or if you are lucky enough or have more than one child, the dynamics of having two very different personalities that you need to be there for in their own specific way, because what goes for one does not go for the other. And on top of that, you have a life partner, and how those relationships help create together, not only between you and your partner, but also between you and your partner and your children. So there's plenty to think about, and again, this is just my views on it. I'm not a doctor or an expert in this field. I'm just a parent sharing what I've learned over the past 6 years with me, my children and my wife. Let's go into just the overview of it. I've listed 6 points, my 6 ways of trying to grow with my children, but at the top you also see 2 other line items. It starts with you, and the second part is your child, because at the end of the day, if you're not mentally committed to raise and guide your children, then immediately you have got a weak foundation to be there for your partner, and they're also to be there for your children during this process. Then my 6 ways, and we'll go through the slides, is the daily act of hugging, turning off your technology if and when possible, make time for one-on-one time, encourage emotions, listen to understand, not with the intent to react. Catch your child in the act of doing something right. Now on my first slide, you will see there written the priority diamond. This was something that was shared with me by clinical psychologist Anthony Talbot, and this particular slide is really the glue of this entire presentation, and I will keep on bouncing back to this because I think it is something so simple to memorize and also keep with you to understand how a relationship is held together, and also the importance and the various layers that there are. As soon as you enter the world of parenting, your entire world changes, literally from just a bunch of emotions to the point where during the early stages you hardly sleep. You're trying to be there for your partner, you're trying to juggle the work situation. So there's plenty of moving parts during that early phase, and it is so important to always keep in mind that you are the number one priority, because you cannot arrive in your relationship with your partner or your children if you're not looking after yourself. You'll see on the left I've made a large plus sign, and right at the bottom minus, meaning that the priorities are all at the top. Then we work down through our list over here as explained by Anthony. A handy one, or a handy part of this presentation, or this slide in particular, to remember is that you can only work down in the list, but you cannot go up. You can't put work above children. You can't put children above you and your partner. And you can't put your relationship with your partner over your relationship with yourself. And I'll dive a bit deeper into these line items right now. So as you see, number one there, or right at the top of the list, is the I. That is you. Then we as you and your partner. Then your children. You'll see in the middle the item work. Now work takes up the biggest chunk of that diamond in terms of volume, because that is the reality. You spend so much time at work, interacting, and various other parts. A work day, it's 5 days a week, back to back. But we'll dive deep into that just now. Then external family, friends, sports, and hobbies. Now the reason why the I is at the top is that you are the driver of your own emotions. You are the driver of yourself. And if you do not look after yourself, then naturally you will arrive in your relationship not completely committed, not 100% aware of your actions, or just the way you present yourself in your family dynamics. And so often we as humans or grown-ups neglect ourselves. You found that your early priorities during your younger years, looking well after your body, always keen to eat a bit healthier, constant exercising, that real drive to explore, do more things, meet more people. And the older we get, we naturally climb into our own shell, become used to, we're looking for things that is, or routine. We're looking for our little earthly comforts to make life more comfortable. Don't want to venture too far out to do things. But the point is, you have to look after yourself, whether that be some form of meditation. And meditation comes in so many shapes and sizes, from just taking time out to ask yourself the hard questions. Ask yourself, the next 6 months, how will that look? How's your year ahead looking like? So again, the I is just so important to get this part of yourself cleared up with clear objectives. Make sure that your mind is in the right place, that you have got the best interest for yourself, but not selfishly, but get yourself in that place where you can help, lead, grow, and advise, because you are a parent and you've got somebody that still needs to learn a lot about life, depending on you for answers, for security. And then the we, that's you and your partner. And I've listed there 3 points after that: financial, spiritual, emotional. I mean, those are pretty straightforward if you had to sum that we up. But it is you and your partner. And again, if we now track back to when I started this conversation, to say, if you are not 100% looking after yourself in the right way, about keeping your mental garden growing, how can you arrive in your relationship to add value, to help with that growth path between you and your partner, that combined goals? You and your partner planning to start a family or grow your family. So one can see how important that combination is, because again, this also goes for your partner. Is your partner looking after themselves in that similar way? And again, are you and your partner taking the time to have those deep conversations? The ones about the future, where you are now, not where you were, not how far you've come, but where you are now. Are you both committed? Are you both excited about the future? Then we've got our children, and again, you can see as that triangle goes down for the top of the diamond, all of a sudden a larger chunk. You get to realize how much time your children need and how much time they demand. And again, if everything is in a good balance between you and your partner, then naturally you arrive at that level below into the children phase, where you as a couple can lead together, guide together, communicate. But again, taking the time between you and your partner to have your goals and your vision for your family in line, so when it comes down into the children phase, it's not one parent's view here, the other parent's view there. It is a unity, a unified front. And once that is together, then you find that your children is growing with you, that a line of communication is open between you and your partner, your children and you. Then naturally that big meaty chunky bit in the middle, work. Now this is the one that takes up most of our time. Some people have to travel, sometimes for extended period of time, and that is just the demands of that work. But again, if we have to look at how the family unit pushes down into the work front, if everything is fine at home, the communication is open. Yes, you will be missed if you have to travel and commit to your work responsibilities. But the communication is open there, meaning that the pressures from work can be managed as a unified front. But again, we cannot go up. You cannot bring your work responsibilities or your work problems into your children, into your family unit. So again, as I explained at the start, it can only work down, but it can't work up. Your relationship can't affect who you are as a person. And again, the large chunk is that the work pressures or issues you might find at work push into your family life, take over the quality times that you should set out to be with your family. That work does not take over from that. And it's all about the work part and not time for growing with your family. External family. A large chunk of that, you've got two sides of the family, you and your partner, and then obviously all those people that are dear to each of you. And that brings its own complications. Those people asking and pulling strings, your partner's strings, demanding, or not demanding, but asking for also time with them, and how one manages that. But always remember that where they fall on the spectrum, they are extremely important people, but they can't do your day job for you, and they also cannot raise your family for you. Then comes friends, and those relationships are so important because they are your neutral people. They are people you choose to be with. They are people you choose to interact with. You might find that your children are the same age and you build these new relationships. So again, they're quite low on the diamond, or the bottom part of this diamond, but yet still so important. But they are not more important than the steps up. And you also cannot bring those problems up in the different levels of your responsibility or who you are. And then, last but not least, sports and hobbies. Great way to get rid of some form of stress, but also not allowing those dynamics to take over. You might have a demanding job and you find yourself on a weekend being with your hobby or doing your hobby, whether that be a sport or something that you find takes the edge off. But finding yourself spending your 2 days off where you're not working, or a day off not working, doing your hobby and not being present in your family dynamics, all of a sudden you realize, wow, a whole week goes by and you've got these people, your little tribe, your partner and children who just want some of your time, but you're constantly breaking away from that responsibilities there. So that's just a little quick overview of the diamond. And just in summary, you can only work down in the diamond. You can't move from the bottom up. Some food for thought there. So go into our first slide. Just want to move this little screen. Apologies. Your child, in the first 5 years of their life, your child's brain in the first year develops in 3 stages. Or in the first 5 years, it develops in 3 stages. In the first year, it almost doubles in size from birth till the first birthday. Doubles in size. And one just taking a second to understand how much information it takes for that tiny infant, from just simply moving a finger down to the last motor skill, that constant growing, and then also the controlled movements. It's not just these sporadic movements, but the point is how much that little brain grows in that first year. And then in the first 5 years, up to age 5, that brain will develop and grow up to 90% that of a adult's brain. And just think about, again, the amount of growth that goes on to that little brain, the natural little sponge. And then in that first 5 years, how that little person is completely besotted over the mother and the father figure. Yes, they play their little games, certain days, certain preferences of parent, but there is so much going on. This entire world, we see the world with these open, wide eyes, and these little people just see you and your partner going about your lives, and you are imprinting on them. They pick up every single little bit. The way you walk, the way you clear your throat, the way you speak, the way you communicate to your partner. They pick up every last bit because that is their reality. And also during that phase, I mean, just think about it. Your child's brain in the early development stage can create close to 1 million neurons per second. And I mean, we just don't take the time to appreciate that development phase and how important it is for parents to be around and lead by example. And I'm not saying I am the perfect parent and I've got plenty to learn and plenty of mistakes we've made along the way during raising our children. But to be cognizant of this and to be aware of that is probably the only solution and answer that I can really share with you. It is that commitment you already made is just pitch up, be there as much as you can and be present as much as you can. We can't always be 100% the way we want to, but as soon as you find yourself slipping away, find that work or other responsibilities are taking over, take a second, calm down, and figure out that you need to make time for that what matters most in this particular situation. There we go. So our first slide, hug daily. As a parent, the older we get, the more fragile we become. So contact becomes increasingly important for good health. The older your child gets, the more reluctant they will become to hug you because it's no longer considered cool. As your child learns to become independent, they may keep physical affection to a minimum. However, hugging is good for health and it acts as a natural stress reliever. When a family engages in the simple act of hugging daily, it can act as a physical reminder that we are not alone. Physical and emotional support is equally as important when you are working on fortifying the relationship at home. And this is such a personal and unique thing to each of us. You might not have been raised in a family where people engage in hugging or holding hands or being in close contact with each other. But take a few of these little bits, if you can, from it. The stress relieving part, it's that moment where something happened, something is stressing you out. And this is for you and your partner, or you and your children, or just directly towards you. Something is not right, and somebody who cares about you comes over and just engage in that contact to say it's going to be okay. They can't fix the problem, but just that thought of somebody holding you to say, I love you, or in this case, or in a difficult time to say, we will be there for you. We will try our level best to support you during this phase or time or period. And just that hug for somebody to say, just let it out. You can hold them for as long as you want to. Tears might roll, but just that point to say, I'm thinking of you. I'm there for you. We love you, and we can work through this as a team. And again, I think the scariest part as a young parent, while we're still engaging in so much physical contact, hugs and kisses and the whole part, the point where you have to realize that there's gonna come a time where this constant hugging and this child is gonna grow up, and yes, external pressures are gonna take over. But yeah, my view and on this is that I'm gonna hug them as much as I can during this early phases until, naturally we outgrow potentially that part. But for now, take it while you can, or take it from me, take it while you can, and what's in the future will happen in the future. This slide, we all do it. This is so part of who we are in current times. Turn off your technology when possible. And this is a two-way street. This is not just for children or trying to manage your child. It also goes for you as the parent. It can be hard to walk away from technology when we are constantly connected by it. You don't have to live in a cave to break away from the constant tech noise, but it doesn't hurt to put your phone on silent. So you don't need to feel obligated to respond to every email or text when you're interacting with your children, and in that case, with your family. Most parents have hit the proverbial wall at some point when their child is acting out, and both of you need some time out or break from each other. Keep in mind that on the bad days when communication is vital, it's good to stray away from technology as a means to escape from each other, especially when your child is getting older. And this slide is really two sides. There are times where you need to finish, and you might be a single parent or your partner might not be in town, and I think technology can be such a great way to aid you during those times, for your child just to disconnect after a long day of playing and find themselves in the evening before or after dinner where they can just also switch off for a little bit to watch their little shows or programs, and just also go into their little portal or place. And we do the same. We as adults, we find ourselves disconnecting with the social media part, or also just watching your favorite show or a show on television. It does serve a great purpose for just switching off after extended period, or a tough day at work, or just a tough day of raising your child if you are a stay-at-home parent. So it does have its purpose, and it does really help release some of those stresses. But if one starts just using technology as a permanent crutch and allow kids to just freely interact or watch television or their favorite shows, and all of a sudden communication just becomes less and less and less, then you might face yourself with quite a problematic situation. And also, if you've got a stressful job, constantly on your phone, constantly disconnected, constantly at your laptop, constantly not being there, constantly saying, I'm going to help, I'll come now, but never get to that point. That sets the precedent for your children. And even if that is the case, then put the foot or shoe on the other foot, and then tell your child they cannot do this, or they cannot go and watch the device. But you find yourself permanently in there. And in between that part, you still find yourself on the social platforms, where it's not just work, It's escaping with work as the excuse, but on top of that, also escaping on your own little social media platforms. So I think the point of this is just that do not let technology take away the emotional connection. Times where your children wants to connect with you and you just feel, I want to disconnect. Or just leave your child to just roam around freely on social media platforms like YouTube, etc., where there are some content that's probably not the right content for your child, or appropriate content for your child at a certain age. But I mean, that is something entirely up to you to manage. But the point is, lead by example. Try and be more present when you can, especially during those small periods of time you already have with your children. Especially if you've got a full day at work, you might finish around 6 o'clock, and then you still find yourself disconnected up till 7 o'clock when your children's just got that 1 hour to spend with you. So there's again time management, device management, and just something for you to think about. On our third slide, or third point on my slide, take time for one-on-one time. It is so easy for us for our daily lives to get in the way of good quality one-on-one time. The more responsibilities tend to stack up as we reach for our personal goals. You are working more to build the skills you want for the desired career path. This can lead to moving family time on the back burner when plans, goals, targets starts to stack up. But don't forget to set aside some time to spend on one-on-one quality time with your children. It can be tempting to postpone plans when you may want to be alone and unwind for a while, or go out and engage with friends. But this is how family relationships weaken. It's that Lego and puzzle building time before bed that will cost you 15 minutes or a bit more. But that time means everything to your little one, especially when they get your full attention. This is, again, one of those very, very important parts. That one-on-one time. If you have more than one child, there's more there's more of you need to split in different ways, because what the one likes, the other one might not like. And those one-on-one times to break away and be with each one, and that also includes your partner, is just so important. With the hustle and bustle of work and all the other levers that constantly pull us away during the day and keeps your mind occupied, naturally you want to just unwind after that and just relax for a little bit. And you find yourself, you still need to go and either help with bath time or help making dinner. And then on top of that, somebody's asking, can you build a puzzle? Can you build some Lego? And this is 100% me talking to myself, because I go through those same phases. A long day of work, getting home, trying to sort out dinner, catch up with my wife, and then the kids for that 1 hour still wants to do something. In my brain, I'm just cannot find the time or the energy, and you realize you really, really need to commit and sit down and do that, because for them, this little hour and a half time is so important, and they want everything of you right now, and they will ask you a million times right now, please help, please get involved, please do this, please, please, please. And all you want to do is just sit down and just catch your thoughts for the day. So I think if you have got such a demanding time during the week, one needs to really sit down and maybe plan a bit more or better on the weekends. How to utilize those 2 days you have at your disposal to be more present, not just for your children, but also for your partner. Ask those questions, plan something, and look at things that will bring you guys or your family unit closer together instead of using more things to pull you guys apart. Encourage emotions. Emotions can be messy, but it's essential to be mindful of each other's feelings. Regulating your emotions can be difficult when you are strongly affected by a situation. But keep in mind that a strong relationship is built upon how we communicate our feelings. If your child is hurting, don't be neglectful towards their way of expressing themselves. Even if you find it hard to get closer to them, trying to find out the source of the pain. Emotions can only be put off for so long until it explodes. We are so different in every single way. Your child is not you and you are not your child. Same with you and your partner. Our life experiences up till right now, today, is what forms you, and is the way you react towards confrontation, complication, the people around you. And yes, it is sometimes as an adult tough to really express how you feel about a situation, because you've got so many other things going on a daily basis or a regular basis that we've got different coping mechanisms. The way we respond to complicated answers at home or respond to our children. But yes, the emotional part, to again take time, as we go back to my first slide on the priority diamond, again take time for yourself. I cannot fix my wife. I can't fix problems for my wife, but I can arrive better in my relationship to be a better husband. I can't fix my children's problems, but I can arrive better there to be a soundboard to help them navigate and answer their own questions. But I can't do this if I'm not looking after myself from an emotional point of view. Taking time out, listening to my own questions, trying to find better answers to my own questions. So again, before one can arrive and help someone in need, one probably needs to make sure that you are in a better or in the good space or right space with your own questions and answers. And this is something we will have to deal with as humans for as long as you live. There will always be another complication. There will always be another emotional situation you have to deal with. As soon as the one is resolved, an old one might pop up or a new situation might present himself. So again, trying to be more present during those emotional situations, to try and grow with your children and also grow with your partner. Listen to understand, not with the intent to react. When you're mad or disappointed in your child, it's easy to listen to them to confirm your anger and emotions. Instead of being quick to react, take the time to listen, understand where your child is coming from. Even if you wholeheartedly disagree with their actions and opinions. If you choose to yell at them, you may cause even more resentment between the both of you. As a result, communication may suffer because your child is retreating and refuses to speak to you. Learn to work out your differences by broadening your perspective. Try and find solutions together when both of you can benefit from it. This is one of those things that I do, and I hope there's more people out there that does it, but listening with the intent to understand, not to react, because we've got that little voice in the back of your head during a deep conversation where all you can think about is just trying to answer this question the best possible way. This person keeps on talking and all you're doing is just working on that answer about how you're going to respond to that. And again, as that first part of or that first sentence says, it's easy to listen to them to confirm your anger and emotions. And just take the time to learn better, take the time to listen better in your children's relationship or the relationship with your children, because one can find yourself in a position where you feel you are the parent and you're always right. And sometimes we do make mistakes or we don't always have the right answer. So it doesn't always make us right. And we always speak down to our children because we feel we are this authority that needs to always be right while we are raising and leading our children. So again, this is something you can use even in your own relationship with friends, the family, the rest of those elements on our priority diamond, to understand that if you listen with the intent of listening rather than responding, one could really be a great friend in need, a phenomenal partner, an amazing parent that's always there listening instead of trying to fix and take over and install our views onto somebody else. Our last slide, catch your child in the act of doing something right. Focus on the deeds your child is doing right and praise them for those actions. Not only will this show that you've been paying attention to them, but this will also help boost their confidence. Teach your child to dream with their eyes open, even if you can't always nurture the idea. This is written by Ronnie Cheval, and his point with that sentence is being alert to challenge. Excuse me, let me start that again. To teach a child to be alert to challenges, but to refuse to let them stop you. And I think with this particular point to get across is that during those quality family time, and again, it's tough to implement this part, probably during a work week, especially if you've got a demanding day job or you're not at home for most of it. But one plans these things on weekends or when you have time, on holiday, whatever, to really get better connected with your family and try and catch your child doing something great or kind or being a good friend and praise them for it. Let them know you are always looking out for them You always keep you try in the best way you can to keep an eye on them and help them also grow. And when you can, praise them for those. It doesn't have to be big acts. It just needs to be there to let them know, I saw you. I love you. And again, as they grow, they might move away. And the last thing one wants to do is regret the fact that you never told your child how good they are at certain things and how you could potentially help them grow more on certain things. What makes them tick? What makes them happy? What makes them sad? So again, try and catch your child in the act of doing something right and praise them for it. I'll leave you with 3 questions, and again, hopefully at the end of this presentation, you can take some of this information and use it in your day-to-day life. How is your relationship with your children? What do you wish to see differently? But more importantly, what do you want to do about it? Thank you again for your time. It has been a massive honor to share my experiences with my children and my family. And I hope to use this more even in my life. Like I said at the start of the presentation, there's plenty, the job never stops, and growing will forever happen until our relationship ends. But for now, there's plenty to go for, look forward to, and grow. Thank you very much for your time.